that there is a ton of hidden debt out there that nobody knows about. Nobody knows about that.
It's just hitting right now too.
Started. The reason that nobody knows about it is because it's been able to be carried as a hidden variable for several years. But as all of these lines start to cross, it starts to become more of an issue.
Yep.
Which
That is, yes, as to what that is.
I don't think.
I don't know if they can qualify them because it's so hidden. I mean, how do no one's, you have to get a loan payoff for each one.
Yeah, Justin.
So for the second loan, if it's the liability of the borrower, whose balance sheet is it showing as an asset vol?
Well, that's a good accounting question. I'm not sure how to answer that one. But I know it's a payoff. It's on the payoff. It needs to be dealt with.
Got to be on a bank's balance sheet.
Yeah, I was thinking
someplace.
so. Yeah.
Or it's buried into private equity.
Yeah.
Or not private equity, private credit.
Yeah.
All right.
The administration ended this program, I think it's something like September, right? And now
That was it.
6 months.
Yeah, well, that was the FHA program, which we'll talk about in a minute on the loan module, which was a lot of mortgage fraud involved with that, with investors too. We'll talk about that
We can get away from it. So you can see where we're kind of going here. We're getting into these hidden variables that become opportunities. So
Right.
sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no worries. So, so the new subprime this cycle is FHA and VA. So, and we're seeing a lot of mortgage fraud involved with some of those loans as well. And I've seen it in real time, boots in the ground, right here locally, already in the last few years. A FHA owner-occupant mortgage, but it's not owner-occupant. It's actually an investor that's portraying himself as an owner-occupied to get a 3% down payment for leverage.
I think we've heard about a few of these. Sorry,
And then rent them out.
Yeah.
And then, so that happens a lot. And also with VA's no money down. And I've got some files right now with a large.
Like I know we asked that before. Can you come up with sort of just a ballpark? In your own experience, how prevalent is it?
That's hard to say because by the time by the time I get the file, the property's vacant. And if I talk to the neighbors or if I get the feedback, I can kind of piece it together.
It's not easy to really.
It's not really, but it's the one thing I will tell you, and John Comiskey talks about this, is when the lenders sent out the first letter of, hey, you're behind on the mortgage, a lot of those letters come back, no one's there, no one's occupying the property. And you're usually, if you're in foreclosure as a homeowner, you're going to stick around as long as you can because you have an emotional attachment to that property. If you're an investor, you're out of there. So when you see, and it was like, I don't know, 20%, something like that, of letters that were going out where the homes are vacant right at the foreclosure. So those to me are probably more like investment properties, and they saw it was coming. That's why they just bailed. But here's some examples as far as what's going on with some of the values as far as decreasing. A couple of examples. Punta Gorda, it's on the west coast of Florida. 12.9% loss year over year on values. Austin, Texas, 8.2 loss in value in 24, 6% loss in 25. It's important to note each market down to a zip code. And here's a good example, Atlanta. Dallas has a lot of these same attributes. In Atlanta, if you look at the zip codes in the northern part tier of Atlanta and the suburbs, those values are generally flat to still going up a little bit. But to the southern part of the suburbs of Atlanta, the values are going down year over year, 6 to 13%. So you have to have that kind of granularity when you're looking at every market to understand where how to make money.
Do you have what's causing that? Is it just the cost of living and lack of ability to maintain?
Well, the correlation is a couple. The middle to lower middle class strata is being affected. And you've talked about that on one of your shows, where those are the ones that are struggling the most financially as far as cost of living, and those are the ones that tend to get laid off first. Whereas more the college educated folks that are a little bit better about managing their money, they're not hurting as much. So it's the K-shaped recovery or K-shaped economy that you're talking about. The bottom 80%, they've got challenges. The top 20
kind of thing is you're seeing it around the edges and the margins first. The most vulnerable homeowners are those that are starting just starting, or are they kind of a little more developed?
We're in about the first or second inning.
Okay, so just starting to erode, and you're starting to see the signals show up.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so, and here locally is a good example. The canary in the coal mine for the nation's Florida.
Yeah.
And then the canary in the coal mine for this market is Port St. Lucie.
Oh, Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie is infamous.
It's a poster child.
Yeah. So it's one of the top 5 millennial cities in the country as far as millennials commuting to West Palm to work. And you have just, I mean, so many homes, tract homes that were built. It's still being built. But those, the typical FHA buyer, 3% down, living paycheck to paycheck. And you got to remember, during COVID, during the run-up, you had people buying homes sight unseen. You had people waiving their inspections. They didn't even know what the hell they were buying. They didn't know they needed a new roof. They didn't know they needed new air conditioning. Or I've seen some cases in a development here, they didn't even know they were next to a hospital or next to a highway. They were buying a video based in New York, never seeing the property. So all these things are kind of coming together now. Like Port St. Lucie is a good example. 2 years ago, the average tract home was in the low 400s. Now, low 300s. There's a corridor on Military Trail between 45th and Okeechobee that are townhomes, like quads, the 2-story quads. 2 years ago, 18 months ago, they were trading for low 300s. Now you can pick them up for low 200s. So just think about the number of homeowners that actually bought during this mania, from 22, 23, 24, and even 25. They're upside down.
Yeah, that's the common narrative, right? It's the idea that, okay, yeah, prices are softening. However, most people aren't upside down because the price appreciation, they're just losing some of their equity.
Yeah, if they bought pre-COVID, but if they bought post-COVID and a low down payment, they're already in trouble. So here's a couple other numbers that are kind of surprising. FHA mortgage defaults. Last week, nationally, they went from 12% defaults to 14% defaults. And the ones that are seriously delinquent, which are defined as 120 plus days in default, 6% of all FHA loans are already there.
What does that compare to 2008, 2009?
Well, it wasn't FHA back then. It was the subprime was more conventionals where it was
private label.
Yeah, there was private label. It was like if you have a heartbeat, you can get a loan. No income verification.
But that's really the point, though, because now we're talking about FHA loans that are supposed to be verified and go.
The problem is I'll finish this thing. Go ahead. How they're qualifying FHA buyers, you can go up to 50% of debt to income, your total debt, based on gross income. To me, you're saying somebody I'm to fail. I'm sorry.
It's kind of the objective.
I think so. The way
Mike always speaking the simple truth here.
Quick question on rated defaults. They were 12% last month, 14% now. What's the baseline?
Total FHA loans. But it's going up.
It is the historical default rate.
I don't know. I mean, I
think it fluctuates.
Yeah, I only pay attention when it starts. When I see the red flags, when I can start making money. Yeah.
It's a lot more than you think it should be.
And here's another thing. Now let's talk about the college loans that are due with the SAVE repayment plan. So that's coming up pretty soon. And John Comiskey talks about that very much. But he just came out with a really good article on that here recently. And he's projecting that it's going to be starting in June. And these are people, again, are struggling already financially, and this is going to be another payment that they're going to struggle with. So someone's going to have to give. But he's projecting that between 500,000 to 1 million FHA borrowers will be significantly affected by those payment plans. So you're probably talking about even higher default rates as a result of that.
The portfolio that performs in one economic regime can get crushed in the next. So in this free webinar, we're going to reveal what those 4 economic regimes are, how to identify them, as well as the assets, historically speaking, best positioned to perform in every environment. So reserve your seat now and learn how to prepare your portfolio before the economy shifts again.